Global Speakers Talk.
Today I'm going to be sharing how we create clarity in uncertain times. And the important word that you need to write down is create. Oftentimes you'll find a title that says finding clarity in uncertain times. And you're going to hear in the next 15 minutes or so why I believe that we have to create our own clarity. But what I want you to write down, this is huge, is clarity does not come from certainty. Clarity comes from control. Clarity does not come from certainty. Clarity comes from control. In 2009, I was living a very standard American life, one that you would see. I was married. I had 3 children. I had one singular W-2 job. My wife had a job. We were living the American dream. And what you find out living the American dream is very often it's paycheck to paycheck. Times were very tight. We were living on credit, but we had each other and we had a good family. On a very brisk April day in 2009, I had an unfortunate thing happen that created a reset within my life. Not really even a reset, almost a fundamental change, a path to a new progress. I found my dad dead on his kitchen floor at 58 years old. You know, we all have pain and trauma in our lives, and we have things that have happened to us along the way. But that day was a very defining moment. It was filled with shock. It was filled with grief. It was filled with chaos of EMS and workers and family and phone calls and people going and coming. And then the very short days, 2 to 3 days after I found my father deceased at 58 years old, and coming to the understanding that my dad's complete net worth was $17,000. 58 years of life amounted to $17,000 of net worth, and I realized no one's coming. It became very clear to me that my parents weren't there to save me. My spouse wasn't there to save me. My children wasn't there to save me. My employer, my coworkers, that nobody was coming to save me in this world. And that if I wasn't completely satisfied with where I was at and what I had, that it was up to me and me alone to go create that change in order to get, the things that I was desiring. So I want you to write these things down. There's 3 things that you have to create clarity for your life. And by the way, you do this drill many times in your life. You might want to create clarity for the next 90 days. You might want to create clarity for 2026. And you might want to create a clarity plan for the next 5 years or the next 10 years. But you're going to need these 3 things to invoke that change. Number 1, you're going to need direction. Our dear friend and great sales and mentorship leader, Zig Ziglar, said it best. If you do not have a target, you will hit it every time. We 100% have to know where we're going. I call it the success blueprint. I walk my clients through this exercise. And here's the thing. Your journey is your journey. Some people want to buy back their time. They want to create quality of life with family. Some people want to make so much money that they can buy their own freedom and see the world and travel. Some people want to create net worth so that they can have things. Your journey is your journey, and it's not anyone else's to judge, but you have to know where you're going. So we start out by creating clarity, by creating a success blueprint and a plan about where you're trying to go. You can never hit a destination that you didn't define. Otherwise, we're just wandering right through life. So we're going to start, number 1, by creating direction. It's very important. The second thing you're going to have to create clarity for your change in your life is you got to create margin. And this is the part that I'm able to get my clients to understand so clearly when they realize that their answer to their problems is right in front of them, and it's been right in front of them the whole time. You have to create margin. What do I mean by margin? Margin is simply, it's a word that a lot of people use in business, but they don't think about it in terms of their private life, personal life, their personal finances. Margin is simply the difference between what you have coming in and what you have going out. The reality is that if money is not your motivator, if you want to be one of the most philanthropic people in the world and give back and be a part of nonprofits and be a part of the human resolve, you still have to have money to pull those things off. Everything we do, whether it's missionary travel, whether it's a flyer to get your notice out there, whether it's marketing so that people can hear your story and you can attract donors, or whether it is genuinely to build businesses for yourself and your family and to create a legacy plan, you need resources to do it. So the number 2 step is you have to create margin. So how do you create margin? Well, the truth is that even though a couple of days after my dad's death, I had this aha moment that no one was coming, it still took me 4 years to hit rock bottom and to take action on that. In that next 4 years, I ended up getting divorced. I was living in an apartment where I once lived in a custom built house with my wife. I had $120,000 in credit card debt. I was about to lose my house, which I'd had to rent out because I couldn't afford the mortgage. For all intent and purpose, I was broke, and I was broken financially and emotionally. And then there was that life-changing event. And if you read my book that I have coming out in around April or May, or you follow the podcast that I'm on or any of the social media channels, you'll hear the rest of that story. We don't have time for it this morning, but I'm going to tell you that there was an event that happened that changed my life forever. And I took full control of my life, and I started by creating a plan and understanding that I needed to create margin. Now, creating margin is actually very easy, but it's easy to understand, but it's not easy to execute. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of discipline to your plan and understanding that you're not doing it for anyone else but yourself. Margin can be created by working 3, 4, 5 jobs. It can be created by having a primary job and driving Uber, door dashing, delivering pizza, having part-time jobs on the weekend, whatever it takes. There's a sign on my desk that says, I want results, not excuses. Every client I work with at some point in the journey tries to give me excuses. I'm one of the few people that you will work with as a coach that gets to say no excuses, because I've been there and I've done it. Now, here's the part a lot of people miss. I believe it was Benjamin Franklin, don't hold me to that, that said a penny saved is a penny earned. Creating margin can be done just as easily by reducing our expenses and learning how to live on a budget and to suppress our spending habits as it is creating income. The fastest way to create margin is to do both of those things. Our dear friend and financial coach, Dave Ramsey, says it best. You don't see the inside of a restaurant unless you're working there. We're living on beans and rice, rice and beans. But anybody that tells me they can't create margin, I'm going to challenge them otherwise, because I created margin. I actually created, to be exact, $88,000 in margin over a 2-year period. From broke and broken in an apartment, lonely and desperate, to a savings account with $88,000. And then the third step to creating clarity for your plan is you bet on yourself. Because the reality is that people don't understand what true security is. See, if you come from nothing, it'd be easy to think $88,000 is security. It's not security. You're one lost job, one car wreck, one cancer diagnosis, one medical diagnosis away from being broke again. If you genuinely want to change your direction in life, you have to get comfortable taking chances, but betting on yourself. In that time, after I had worked for 2 years to save up $88,000 by working 3 and 4 jobs, I found a dilapidated rental property, or it was not a rental property. It was just a piece of real estate that was dilapidated. And I bet on myself. I had never flipped a house before, but I took the entire $88,000, took that account down to zero, bought that house, rehabbed that house, put in sweat equity, stayed up to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, swinging hammers and pulling sheetrock, all while I had to be up the next morning and still be to my regular job. And when that house flipped, I netted $127,000. Plus, I got back my $88,000 in down payment and rehab money. And over the next 10 years, I deployed that $215,000 into many businesses. Today, I've built businesses that I've built and sold. I've built businesses that I failed at and closed. Today, I have 9 entities that cumulatively do over 8 figures in revenue. 10 years. You can change your life so quickly if you just believe in yourself and in the ability. So again, you start with a plan. I call it a success blueprint. Number 2, you create margin. And number 3, you bet on yourself. In my coaching business, ameasura.com, we do personal financial coaching and we also do business coaching. Because step 4, which we won't go into today, is now that you're ready to expand your business, how do you learn what you don't know? And that's the problem, is we don't know what we don't know. And there's so much to be learned about how to scale a business and where to start. And so my offer to you guys that are listening to the Global Speaker Talk this morning, which I'm so proud to be a part of, is to go to ameasura.com and to fill out the contact us form, where we will set up a free discovery call, meet you where you're at, and customize a plan and give you a special program rate for coming from Global Speakers. So just type Global Speaker into the notes when you schedule your call, and we'll be sure to know how to contact you from there. I am so excited for all of you to find yourselves in 2026. I'm excited for you to write your success blueprints and to understand what your journey is. And I encourage you greatly. I will tell you very transparently, in the mid 2000s, as a young and upcoming business guy who had not figured out how to do it right, I was very averse to coaching. I wasn't really understanding what it was about and how it could really help me. It felt like a waste of money until I landed on the right mentor and the right coach, and it changed everything. So don't be afraid to invest in yourself, and don't be afraid to partner with people that have your best interest at heart. So my name is Mickey Lyles. I'm the founder and CEO of Ameasura Growth Partners, and my encouragement for you today is stop waiting and start building.
And every story can change the world. Together we are Global Speakers Talk.